And we are live. If you can hear me okay, please put a 5 by 5 in the chat to let us know. Hey, Kelly, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Doing great.
Hard to
So
believe it's a Thursday. My goodness, this week has flown right by.
yeah. So we have an announcement to make tonight, but we'll wait a little while for some people to come in. I'll give you an overview of the show tonight. We do not have a guest tonight because we've not been able, thank you, Yankiwi. We do not have a guest tonight because we're not been able to find anybody. We might have a guest next week, but not this week. We're kind of running out of people who want to come on and present their own Charlie Kirk theories. So we might be looking into other cases as well, like we've talked about in the past. We might be moving topics. But anyway, so what are some other topics that we might be looking into? Whether or not Artemis was fake, um, that was one of the top ones, probably aliens as well. We'll be talking about aliens later on tonight. Okay. And then first, what we're going to do tonight is I'm going to give some case updates for the Charlie Kirk stuff, just with my investigation, with my demonstration campaign. I'm going to give some updates on that and on some other things as well within the case. And then Kelly will give some updates from her end as well. After that, we're going to talk about aliens. There's been a lot of talk about that. Disclosure might be coming soon. And there's a new Bob Lazar documentary that I want to sort of show you guys. And Trigger Smart's been talking about some of this stuff as well. So we're going to look at that pretty soon here. After that, the thumbnail of this video said we were going to do a skill share whereby I teach Kelly how to program a computer for Mikey McCoy's backpack. I realized that's dumb. It's going to be really boring, so we're not going to do that. But we are going to do the exciting part, which is Kelly's going to teach me how to do FOIA requests and other super cool investigative journalist stuff that I don't know how to do, that I want to know. Because she offered somebody on Twitter, hey, I can teach this stuff is really important for your tweet. And then she said, I can help. I can teach you how to do this. Let's team up. And then no response. But I saw that. And I'm like, hey, can I take you up on that? So that's what I wanted to do tonight. So we're going to do that then. And then after that, there's another topic that we might discuss that's pretty going around a lot today. I initially said we're not going to talk about it today, but we might if we have time at the end. So now that we have some more people in here, we will go ahead and give the announcement tonight. Kelly has been alluding to it a little bit. I've been alluding to it a little bit. We're going to Utah Valley University. Kelly and I believe.
So exciting. Nothing like boots on the ground, getting to really experience a place for yourself, getting to take in the environment and really get a feel for a place, talk to people, see the sights for yourself. It's a very important part of research and reporting, and we're going to get to do that.
Yeah. We don't have a specific date yet, but we're targeting middle of this month or towards the end of this month. Maybe we'll be in town for the preliminary hearing if it happens at the current schedule. Maybe, not sure yet, but don't have a specific time range yet, but sometime middle of this month, maybe towards the end of the month. We're also going to do the field tests that I've been doing alone here in Delaware. We're going to do another one out on, I think it's a ranch in Kelly's area with a real rifle. And another thing that I intend to do there is a bunch of audio tests. With the audio analysis, there's been a lot of talk about that. If you're on Twitter at all, or if you've watched any of my videos, what I talk about a lot is test cases. This person does an audio analysis and they come to this conclusion. That person does another audio analysis. They come to a completely different conclusion. How do we tell the difference between one that works and one that doesn't work? Test cases. What you have to do is you have to go out into a field, get a rifle, have someone do a blind test where they shoot an unknown rifle from an unknown location into an unknown target. You set up all your microphones and your cameras. You document the location of all the microphones. and then you have someone else shoot the rifle. You don't know where the rifle is or where the targets are, but you, as the audio analysis person, you have to go and use your software, use your method, your math, whatever, to figure out where the rifle was and where it was pointed. So I've already done that once with Unzapped TV. Great guy. Talked to him on the phone. But we're going to do it, hopefully, on a ranch here with multiple of those where it's truly blind, and I'll be able to prove undisputably that my software actually works, that it can actually predict, it can accurately find where the rifle actually was in a blind scenario. So that's one of the tests that I intend to do on the ground with Kelly out on a ranch, and we're also going to do some field demonstrations. We're going to see whether or not the sound of the rifle can completely make the sound of the squib disappear. That'll be a really important test. And we'll also have the test where it's going to be a mannequin, because that's the only safe way to do it. But we're going to have the squib go off on the mannequin with the shirt behavior and the blood and the disguisability all in the same time, with the rifle going off and with Mikey McCoy's laptop, all that stuff at the proper yardage. So that'll be interesting. And I'll probably do, if possible, I'll probably do one with me as this test subject, but the rifle will have to be pointed away and have a blank in it or something if we do that, but I don't know. Don't know if we'll live stream it or if we'll just film it. But anyway, that's what we hope to do. We're going to Utah Valley University, and we're also going to do the tests out on the range. It's going to be really great. And it is really important to do that, to do those things, especially going to UVU, because you have to get on the ground to see things that you're not going to see otherwise.
Yeah, there's no substitute for having that in-person experience, and so really looking forward to being able to do that. And it's been really awesome, Jordan, to watch your experiments, your demos from afar, but to be able to get to see them in person is going to be pretty incredible. And I'm excited to get to have a little piece of that next step. For you.
You already have your CO2 thing.
Right. I know. Let's see. I keep it close by. I keep it close by.
You already have a piece of it.
Yes.
Right. So I'm going to go into my case updates. So typically in this point of the program, we would be going to a guest, but if you are a potential guest, if you would like to come on the show and share your theory, please let us know. Email us at tryandproveit@gmail.com. I don't think it's in the banner, but we're on X, Try and Prove It. You can DM us there. You can DM Kelly, DM me, email Kelly, email me. You can get in contact with us pretty easily if you would like to come on the show and share your theory, whether it's about aliens, whether it's about Artemis being faked, or whether it's about Charlie Kirk. Let us know, and maybe you can come on the show, but we don't have anybody this week. So that's why I'm going into my case updates, and then Kelly will go into her case updates. All right, so I've been doing a lot of work. We did not have a field test last week, or last Sunday. I need to turn off the comments. I can't see. I can't focus. All right, we need to go. We did not have a test last Sunday because we had a scheduling conflict, whatever. It happens. We can't do it every single Sunday, but that gave me a lot of time to make it significantly better since last test because I have so much more time. Part of that is in the past, I've had all of the CO2 solenoid stuff strapped to my legs. It was really uncomfortable. It took forever to get it onto me, and it was a pain to take off. And it was different every time. Sometimes it would work, sometimes it wouldn't. Nothing was ever in the same position. It was not ideal. But what I have now, I've fixed. So because we have the photos of Charlie with the thing on his belly, previously I thought, okay, that's probably the blood bladder. But I've moved, what I've done now, this is the CO2 pinning gun. Now, it comes out right here, And then this is the one for the necklace. This is the CO2. This is for the pendant. This is for the necklace. This is completely consolidated into one little thing that I can strap to my stomach. And I can use this Velcro band to put it on my stomach now so that there's no tape anymore. So that makes it able to come off in like well under 10 seconds so that I can strap it to me really easily and put it in a really precise position, like right here, so that it pushes directly up and it's thin enough that it's disguisable under the shirt to create the exact same belly bulge that we see on Charlie in basically every photo. I'm going to change the orientation of this so that it's like not so wide. But anyway, once it goes off, I'm then able to take it back off me, like after the shot. I'm able to take this back off me in like 5 seconds. Because what people keep saying is, and it's kind of silly, but they say that because we have the video of Charlie being carried out 15, 20 seconds after the shot, and you can see his belly, and there's no prosthetic there, they think that means that there's no CO2 pendant gun. It's silly because, like, obviously they had 15 seconds to pull it off. Now, but the problem so far has been the way my rig was designed, but now it's designed such that I can take it off of me in like 5 seconds. So I'll be demonstrating that this week. And the other cool thing about this is because it's so consolidated, I am able to, it's so simple now. So there's like nothing that can break. Like what on this is going to break? Nothing on this is going to break except for this, but I'm going to make this better too. It doesn't leak, doesn't break. So when I press that button or when Kelly presses the button or whatever, I know it's going to work. And it's so much simpler now. And with the blood pump too, it's so much simpler now. So many parts have been deleted. The engineering has gotten so much better. When I press that button, I know it's going to work. Like last time we had the issue where the blood barely came out, and that's not going to happen again. And it's so, everything just straps to my stomach in like 2 seconds. Suit up time is basically nothing, and it all comes off really quick. So that's pretty cool. I'm going to show you a video now of a blood test that I did. I think we can do this. I don't think it'll get flagged. This is a blood test. Maybe I can, it's not going to let me. Maybe I do this. Yeah, here we go. Let's go into this view here. This is a blood test that I did with the pump in the shower with the mannequin. I wish I could move. There we go.
Wow, that's a lot of fluid.
Yeah. That's pretty cool, yeah?
Yeah. And so
And
that's the
colors,
same, essentially the same stuff that you'll be wearing.
Yep, that's the exact same thing. Only it will be a little bit more red because this ended up purple because I guess I didn't pay attention in art class in kindergarten. I added black first and then I added red and then it just made it purple. And I didn't want purple, so I guess I need to go back to art class and figure out how to make it dark red.
Figure out your primary colors again.
Yeah. Well, the issue was the red food coloring. It'll make it red, no problem. It's just not, it's just like clear red. It's not dark red. So I need to figure that out with some smaller samples because this one was like 2 gallons that I made up. So I need to make it smaller. But anyways, that's pretty cool. That's what I'll be wearing. And it straps to my side and it can go under a prosthetic such that when I'm being carried out, if it's still under the prosthetic, my belly will jiggle the same way that Charlie's does. So that would be pretty cool. Because when I say, or when we say, we see, oh, it looks like his belly is jiggling in such a way that there's something underneath it. We don't just file that away like, that's weird. Must be whatever. No, I'm going to go out into the field and I'm going to use that to my advantage and in my technology, because gone are the days where I'm going to add stuff to my leg where I don't see anything on this leg. I'm not going to add stuff to my back where I don't see anything on his back. Those days are gone. I'm only adding stuff where I have visual evidence that Charlie was wearing stuff. We know he was wearing stuff on his belly, so that's why I can get away with this. And we know that there's some pretty suspicious stuff on his side right here. So I can add stuff there too. So I'm getting really close to the end of this, I think, where I can demonstrate the entire thing. I can explain all anomalies with a cohesive narrative, and nobody will be able to say that, oh, this is too this is too that. I think I might even be able to figure out how to do it without a prosthetic. I haven't demonstrated that yet. I have with earlier tests, but it's never been quite right, but I might be able to figure that out. That'll be pretty cool if I do.
That's impressive. There were a couple of questions that were popping in as you were speaking, so I figure we may as well go through them now, if that's okay with you, Jordan.
Yeah.
Okay. So one from Yankee Wee said red yogurt. Would that
No,
be too
because
thick?
it would be too thick probably, and I already have the recipe for it. Maybe not a recipe, I don't have precise numbers, but I already have a recipe for the consistency because I did so many tests with the mannequin. In a previous phase, I had my timer's going off from my oven right now, but I'll finish this thought. In a previous phase, I was doing nightly live stream tests with my mannequin, and that's where I learned what the right consistency was for the blood. It's salt water, or the best way I could get it was with salt water and a little bit of Caro syrup. That was the recipe that matched the consistency the best. So that's what I'm doing now. I didn't get the recipe right this past time, but I will in the future. So that gets the way the surface tension of it and the clumpiness. So I don't really want yogurt because I know yogurt can have little fruits inside of it that can clog things, and I don't want that. But I need to check my oven. Can you
Go for it.
talk, Kelly?
Yep, I'm good. Yep. Hi, guys. Okay. Well, drinkable yogurt, that's a really good idea as well. Thank you, Tammy, for suggesting that. It's been a long time since I have had any drinkable yogurt. So I don't recall if there is any of the tiny little like strawberry pieces in there or not. But Jordan seems to have this pretty dialed in. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he comes up with on that front. I will be, in terms of new case updates, I am working fast and furiously on a pretty lengthy piece that I have coming out hopefully tomorrow about Erica Kirk, and I hope that you guys will keep an eye out for that. I was wanting to have it out a few days ago, but I've had some computer issues. So anyway, fingers crossed that once I finish the stream tonight, we'll be able to put the final touches on editing that. I really like being able to do these longer, in-depth investigative pieces, and there's going to be a lot of information in there that has not been covered before. And it is, if I could tease it a little bit, there is some historical information that you were not aware of, most likely, putting some pieces together in a way that I believe are predictive for the future. It's something that I haven't seen anyone else talking about. So I will leave you with that. And it's going to be good. It's going to be good. It's going to be great. Otherwise, tomorrow afternoon, I'll be doing a live stream with Trigger Smarts around 4:00. We'll probably start 3:30 Central Time. There is the hearing, in Utah to determine, as Judge Graff will decide, are they going to proceed with the preliminary hearing the following week. So I believe it's the 18th, 19th, 20th of May. That's when it's currently set for Tyler's. Oh, I see your back, Jordan. Tyler, there we go. Tyler's hearing, but they're going to be doing a WebEx hearing, and we should have some rulings coming through tomorrow. Also, just some additional cameras. Will cameras be allowed? We're going to actually hopefully learn a lot of information on some pending questions that have been hanging in the wings for a bit of time. So hope you can join us tomorrow as we live stream that hearing and deal with the potential fallout wherever the chips land.
And hopefully the hearing will be scheduled for a time that we can be there, maybe, or at least part of it. Okay.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah,
I'm gonna keep. I was just keeping it short and brief, and that's where we're at.
And I have the next timer in 13 minutes. Hopefully, I can get done with this. Okay. I was at. So the field test this coming Sunday. It's going to have. What's going on, dude? I'm going to be using this. I'm going to have much better blood that's going to actually work. It will probably be the correct color. And what I told Kelly the other night is it's going to be scary. It's going to be terrifying. It's going to look like I got shot. The past times it's looked like a CO2 pinning gun. Every time it just looks like a CO2 pinning gun. Doesn't look scary. But this time it's going to be scary. It's going to be like, it's going to look like I actually got shot and fell down and bled out. That's what it's going to look like, I think. And I'm pretty sure it's going to work because I know this is going to work. And I know that this is going to work. This is the pump right here. It's a submersible pump. So it doesn't even have a tube for the inlet. So it's going to work, and it's going to be terrifying as long as I manage my time correctly enough to get everything together. So that's up to me. But it's going to be a really good test. And we're also going to not have me doing the mission control audio, because what I realized was it looks kind of weird when I'm talking to Kelly doing the mission control stuff, but I'm playing Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk is not talking to the mission controller. He's not talking to whoever's running the computer. He's not talking to Brian Harple, not talking to any of these people. So why am I, the actor playing Charlie, talking to all these people? It doesn't make sense. We expect you to use your imagination in those tests to imagine that someone else is doing those things. But I would rather, for this final test of this phase, hopefully, I would rather you see someone else in the background doing these mission control comms with Kelly. And hopefully we'll have someone to do that. And they'll be able to do that while I'm debating James May. He has said that he's available for this coming Sunday. I will be debating James May while all of the mission control stuff is going down. And Kelly is going to press Kelly or someone is going to press the button in the middle of that debate at a time that I do not expect. So I'm just going to be talking to James May on the phone like this probably, or maybe with my earpiece, pretending to be Charlie Kirk. And then she's going to press the button. I'm not going to be in contact with her, and it's going to go off, and I'm going to play dead. So it's going to be much, much more realistic than it has been in the past. And hopefully everything works. But I don't use hope around here. I use wrenches around here, and it's going to work. Ooh, so we have another update that we want to share here. We shared it on Jesse on Fire, but not necessarily our entire audience would have watched that. So we wanted to share it here. We have so Kelly, do you want to share this, like the Dan Flood hand signal?
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
So the thing that Dan Flood does, what is that?
So it is I guess you'd say a signal, a hand gesture that's called a canal. It is it kind of rose to, I guess you'd say, popularity from a French comedian about 10, 12 years ago. And it is supposed to kind of symbolize a Nazi, it'd be reminiscent of like a Nazi gesture. And it's the kind of the inverse of a Nazi gesture. That may be the best way to describe it. Sorry, I didn't know we were going to talk about this. Otherwise, I would have formed my thoughts a little bit better. But
Oh, sorry. I thought I told
that's
you.
okay.
And
Yes, yeah,
it
yeah,
is
yeah.
in the
Sorry,
manual.
I got distracted when Brock came running
Okay,
through.
gotcha.
But yeah. So it's we when Jordan and I had noticed it from someone else on X, we did a little bit more deep dive into it and tracked down some videos from the past so you can hear a little bit more about it.
Yeah. This is the guy who invented the hand signal.
But he's kind of making he's starting the gesture there.
So this is our stream from Jesse on Fire and the picture in picture here.
He does it a couple more times in this interview, but I wanted to at least sort of initial to you there. Okay.
That's pretty much the exact same thing that Dan
And
Flood does right there.
yes, and so this soccer player who at the time was a world-renowned soccer player, he is retired now, but I don't know that much about about soccer, so some of y'all might remember. But anyway, he got in big trouble at the time. Also, Tony Parker, who is he did play for the San Antonio Spurs, but he's French actually as well. He had done the signal as well. So, we wonder if by chance that's what Dan was doing.
And the significance of that is if it is indeed what Dan Flood was doing, it is sort of an anti-Zionist hand signal.
Mhm.
And one of the reasons why we think Charlie might have faked his death was to get away from a real death threat from a certain country. And it turns out this ham signal might be sort of an FU to that country. So I don't know, guys.
Yeah, it could be a little bit more significant than just something that looks like a third base coach, making a random hand signal.
Yeah. And Rick Cutler as well is actually doing pretty much the same hand signal. Everyone was thinking it was because of a palm pistol, but it's basically the same thing Dan Flood is doing. And if that has symbolic significance, that might be a better read than he's signaling to everyone in the crowd. No, it's a symbolic gesture, perhaps, that is sending a symbolic message that is not tactical in nature.
With the
That's the theory.
understanding, yeah, with the understanding that, they would be on camera inevitably from many different angles. And so, given the fact that these gestures were in the exact moments before the incident, we wonder and hypothesize, could it have been a pretty significant FU gesture to the other country?
Yeah. It is literally the exact instant before the shot. Both Rick Cutler and especially Dan Flood. I'm not going to do it anymore because what I learned through this was I shouldn't make random hand signals that I don't know the meaning of that could be super offensive. So I'm not going to do it anymore. Should probably delete those posts. But it's literally, he does it, boom. So, yeah. And it makes more sense than it being a tactical hand signal because literally everybody can see you. But if it's a symbolic gesture, it makes a lot more sense. And in my opinion, when we dropped that on Jesse on Fire, I thought, or I didn't think, but in my opinion, it should have been the news cycle for the next day. In my opinion,
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
think it's so
Yeah.
funny. Okay, those are
Sometimes
my
that's the way things work, you know? Sometimes people don't know how. I mean, it's an awkward thing to talk about, right? And so sometimes it's difficult for folks to wanna approach,
but hey, if
and they're
anyone's in
already a
contact,
little hands off when it comes to talking about, you know, fake and staged death to begin with, so
well, this isn't even well, it kind of implies fake death, but if anyone's in contact with Barron, I know he's interested in this, because I know he did a show, an entire show on that hand signal, so maybe he'd be interested in this new finding. All right.
this is interesting if you wanted to read this out loud,
And Dan does it often in Charlie's videos. I've only seen him do it once. So maybe he's sending that message every time, seems less tactical and more symbolic. You were going to say something?
well, just that I have seen him do it, at least one other time, if not 2 other times, but, to, you know, to that point, you know, it could be that it is a symbolic gesture and symbolic extra especially symbolic being that it was right before the boom.
What was the second time? Because I know the one where they were talking about call, like he literally said call signs and then he did the thing. What was the second one?
So there was, I mean, it was just in a different event.
Do you know? Can you link it?
Yeah, I can link it. I just we'll need to take a minute to find it.
Yeah,
I mean, I
I'm
have like
interested. You know
all,
what they were
yeah,
talking about?
at a college event. No, I don't remember exactly what they were talking about at the time.
I want to see that. Let's talk about
Mhm.
that later. All right, that is the end of my bullet points for my case updates. Kelly, do you have stuff you would like to share?
No, I was kind of hitting on that briefly while you were away.
Do
Just
you want
that,
to plug your Erica video or no?
yes, yeah, I plugged the Erica video and said once we wrap up the stream tonight, I'm gonna hopefully be able to finish up that video and have it ready to roll, and then um, look forward to seeing everyone in the stream tomorrow afternoon, late afternoon, as we go into that hearing.
Can you give us an appetizer as to what's in the video?
Yes, yeah. We talked about this a little bit while you had stepped away. We're going to be looking at some things that people probably would not have picked up on that were talked about very early on in the days after uh, you know, the incident at UVU, and essentially why I believe that she's not really in control, that someone else is controlling her.
Who's controlling
And
her?
well, I'm not gonna. You said you wanted an appetizer, not the whole thing, not the whole entree. But you know,
All right.
um, yeah. So but let me say this, that her I believe that her destiny has already been predicted.
Okay.
Just let me get my video out before someone
All
else
right.
watches this and tries to beat me to the punch, okay?
All right. I have my timer going off in 50 seconds. I'm going to pull up the tweet about aliens from Jeremy Corbell. And we're going to go into this one and hide current comment. I need to go and get my dinner out of the stove. Can you see that? I don't think you can. Now you can see it. I'll be right back. Can you read that?
Let's see here. Yes. So from Jeremy Corbell, just now, sources in the White House, as well as congressional members, tell me and G. Knapp that the presidential UFO file release will begin tomorrow. We're told that it will be slow and steady at first, nothing shocking initially. Let's see where this goes. This is very encouraging that this administration is following through. More data means more leverage for those of us fighting for UAP transparency. Sleeping dog exists because our government chose silence over transparency. That might be changing. Sleeping dog movie.
Yeah, I was muted. All right, so we're going to talk about aliens now, yeah?
Yeah.
So they're talking about how disclosure might be starting tomorrow. This is Jeremy Corbell, one of the leading UFO celebrities, I guess, I would say.
Can we take a look at the trailer for this?
Sure.
I've been holding a secret for about 11 years.
Did you see something? Do you have something?
Right. There was a reason why I chose to believe you.
The first 10 years that I was doing this, I'm going through the same stuff that you're going through now. Bouncing off the walls, up and down, peaks and valleys, scared shitless, worried about what comes next.
Corbell is an investigative journalist who helped obtain and release the DoD footage of UFOs.
I'm afraid he's going to die. I mean, there is a hit out on him.
It's not a video of an alien. It's not a video of one craft. It's more than that. Years ago, I went searching for the truth about UFOs, and I found it. To really understand the full picture, I'm going to start where it all began.
They have between 30 and 50 alien bodies.
Captain Edgar Mitchell was the sixth person to ever walk on the moon.
The evidence is very strong. They've been here and are here.
It's an Alice in Wonderland planet. Very few people will ever
I don't want to play the whole thing and get a copyright strike. But, okay, what is the whole idea with UFOs here? There's been a lot of talk in the government recently about reverse engineered alien spacecraft that we've been trying to reverse engineer and figure out how it works. That's been one of the bigger ones. There's been talk about we have alien bodies and all this stuff. And is this just crazy people talking about it on the news, or is it like top government officials? It seems like it's top government officials. There are a lot of witnesses who want to come forward, who saw stuff, heard stuff, who can't come forward because they don't have security guarantees. So one of the big things that they need to figure out is getting these people security guarantees so that they can come forward and talk. That's one of the biggest things. There was a bill that was supposed to go through. It passed, I think, the House, but then it got killed in the Senate. That was supposed to give them security guarantees. That's one of the biggest things that these witnesses need to come forward and talk about the stuff that they've seen. But basically, like, why are we talking about UFOs? It's because thousands and thousands of people have seen stuff that is UFOs, primarily within the U.S. government. Stuff like the Arizona or the Phoenix Lights. There's all kinds of abduction stuff. There's all kinds of sightings in specific areas out in the desert. And there's the 5 observables of these craft, which is like the most important one is instantaneous acceleration. They show up on radar too. Some of the top sources for these things are military people who have access to military radar. So there's this, I'm not doing the best job of explaining it, but there is a mountain of evidence over decades and decades and even centuries that there's something else going on this planet that we don't understand. There's craft in our airspace that we cannot protect ourselves from, that we don't understand. There's stuff that moves in ways that we cannot explain. And we also have people who say that they've worked with the stuff, that they've worked on the stuff, that we have this stuff, and that we know all about the stuff. And they think that disclosure is coming, that there will be a day pretty soon here where the US government will say that, yes, we know about aliens. Yes, we have alien craft. People think that this stuff is coming out. And what do you think, Kelly? You think it's coming out?
You know, it feels a little bit like the promise of, all of the big assassination files coming out, the JFK, RFK, MLK, and then there was Amelia Earhart. Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see. There's been so many, there's just been so many look over here, not over here in this administration that I hesitate to get too excited. Coupled with, there's been some strange activity among the, all of these folks that have gone missing, or strange deaths and strange suicides and things like that. So I don't know. I mean, I guess I could say hope. I'm optimistic, but you know, um, we'll see. We'll
So
see.
part of this show, or really the main idea of this show, at least what I imagined the show would be, is we have guests come on who come on to present clear theories on sort of alternative reality theories, Charlie Kirk being one of them. The government says this is what happened, and this is what reality is, and then someone else says no, it's not. Let me tell you what it actually is. So with Charlie Kirk, it's government says Charlie Kirk was shot by Tyler Robinson with the 30-06. We say, no, he wasn't. Let me show you why. With aliens, what I would like to do is have someone come on who believes in aliens, and I would like to not debate them, because I guess I believe in aliens too, but have a very critical discussion where I sort of debate you the way I would someone like defending exploding microphone theory or any of the alternative theories that I disagree with on Charlie Kirk. But I want to talk to people who believe in these alternative reality theories, who believe in aliens, who believe in Bob Lazar, and I want to dig into that in not a softball interview style. And because that's kind of how I assess my own beliefs too. Like if I believe in aliens, but then I get someone in front of me who believes in aliens, I can play the skeptic and ask questions that I would have a more difficult time asking of myself, and see how that plays out. So that's what I would like to do with this show, is have people on who maybe think that Artemis was fake. I don't think Artemis was fake. People who think the moon landings were fake, who believe in aliens, who believe in these different things, or just pick one, your favorite one that you're most prepared to present on. Contact us, get in contact with us, and come on the show and present. And we'll go through, how did you determine this? How did you determine that? What's the evidence of this? What's the evidence of that? That's what I want to do. So
Jordan, it sounds like we need to bring in some pilots, because according to Jack P 5592, there's no question there's something out there. You can't talk to a pilot without them saying that they've seen them.
yeah, because they spend the most time looking at the sky.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I
Be
don't.
interesting. Yeah.
So now there are stories where a pilot will allegedly mistake a Starlink satellite for a UFO, but I don't really believe that. I think that's kind of crazy. I mean, maybe that's happened a couple times, but it's certainly not all of them. But yeah, pilots are one of the top reporters. But the issue with that is they don't report them because they'll get fired or they'll get looked down upon by their employer if they report this stuff. So that's another issue with it, is it's become so taboo, or it's always been so taboo, that no one reports it. So you have a false sense of, if we saw them, people would report them. But no, people are seeing them, but they're not reporting them. I wanted to show, so on the topic of reverse engineering, I wanted to show a new documentary from Bob Lazar. Bob Lazar is a guy who, I think in the 80s, he said that he was brought to Area 51, S4, and he worked in a reverse engineering program of UFOs. They had him go into a room with a UFO in it, and they told him to try to figure out how it worked. And he did that for about 6 months, and then he got kicked out. And then he came back to the real world and told a story. that's Bob Lazar. He's been telling the exact same story ever since then. And some people have tried to debunk him, but it doesn't really work in my opinion. But what someone just did is, those sketches people do when someone attacks you, someone murders someone next to you, and you go to the police station and they tell you, they have like a portrait guy who is supposed to draw the exact portrait of the person you saw. That's basically what this documentary filmmaker did for Bob Lazar, but instead of just a specific person's face, it was the S4 facility where the UFO was kept. So I'm going to share my screen now. This guy, he did a documentary, like not a fiction documentary, but basically like a fiction documentary, but real life. And he has like a police sketch. Yeah. This is basically a police sketch of what Bob Lazar remembers from Area 51 Site 4 when he worked on UFOs. So here we go.
Worked as a senior staff physicist in what has to be the most secret project in history. My job in this program was to be part of a back engineering team. This particular disc appeared to be in excellent condition, and because of its sleek appearance, I nicknamed it the Sport model. The goal in this program was to see if the technology of the disc could be duplicated with Earth materials. To start up the reactor, of course, we need some element 115. In fact, you need 223 grams, machined into a wedge like this. The program out at S4 consisted of 3 projects: Project Galileo, Project Sidekick, and Project Looking Glass.
The file on top was Project Galileo, and as it turned out, that's the project that I was part of.
Element 150.
So this thing here, like this is supposed to be basically photorealistic to his memory of where he went to work on these things. This is supposed to be the reactor or the power plant, I think. Basically, the way the thing is built is there's no wires, there's no cords, there's no buttons, there's no switches, there's no cord, there's no anything you would recognize as technology. It's all like one solid piece. It's like 3D printed almost. And all the things, all the different parts of it, they just fit together. They don't have wires, they don't have plugs or anything like that. But it works somehow. And this is one of the pieces of it that's supposed to be the power plant. And what he says is that if you try to put your hand next to it, it'll repel your hand like it's a magnet, but it's not. But that's what that is, I think. I haven't watched it yet, but I need to. But if you want to like just imagine what it would be like to go to Area 51 and work on a UFO, and it's supposed to be photorealistic to someone who actually claims to have actually done that in real life and has been telling the exact same story for like 30 years. That's this documentary. It's supposed to be photorealistic. Apparently, when Bob saw it, it was like he was stepping back in time, according to him. That's how like photorealistic it's supposed to be to his memory. So that's pretty interesting. So basically, Bob Lazar, he said that he was the guy who actually got to go work on a UFO in Area 51. So that's pretty interesting. And I think the more stuff like this comes out, the more closer we should get to disclosure, I think.
Wow. That is fascinating. And so how do we watch that story? Is it on YouTube? Is that the best place to watch it?
I don't know. I was listening to he just went on Rogan a couple weeks ago, and that's where I heard about it yesterday. All right, here we go. Buy it or rent on Amazon. I guess that's one place you can get it. Stream on we'renotalone.com. I guess that's where you would go. But I think you can get it on Amazon.
Okay.
Amazon streaming or whatever. Or I guess you can get it here on wearenotalone.com. But just Google like the new Bob Lazar UFO documentary.
Nice.
But anyway, Trigger Smart did a video on UFOs not too long ago. I don't think I've seen him in the chat. Sometimes he's in our chat, but he did a video basically saying, let's actually pull that up here. He did a video with his wife, actually. He had his wife on, and they were talking about, my interpretation of it was that they were saying that the UFO thing is part of the rapture from the Bible and the book of Revelation. I think that's what they were saying, but that was pretty wonky. Trigger Smart. This one.
The fellow pastors are invited to come to a private meeting.
Have you watched The
They were
Age of
talking about-
Disclosure?
Oh, that's the movie that's coming out, I think, right? With that hot lady, Emily Blunt. Is that movie? Age of
Maybe
Disclosure.
so.
I think that's coming out. No, it's this. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. I might have watched it.
I haven't
Probably
watched
did.
it. Okay, I'll add that to my list.
Yeah, but so one of the topics Trigger Smart was talking about was there was a meeting between top government officials and top religious pastors on YouTube who have a lot of reach or something on social media. And they were saying that there's a bunch of alien disclosure stuff that's about to come out. And hey, you pastor people, you need to prepare the population for aliens, basically. I don't really, I mean, that might be the case. That might be what happened. I don't know. What do you think, Kelly?
Well, I do think that I heard something about it. So I'm only speaking, I guess, third, fourth hand. But I heard something about it in terms of preparing them to tell the flock,
Yeah.
and be able to answer questions when, their parishioners were inevitably going to be asking.
And one of the big questions is, if they do disclosure, is that going to cause civilization collapse? Say we find out that we're like a chicken farm for aliens. Is that going to cause civilization to collapse? Maybe. So that's one of the things people talk about. So,
Yeah,
but
and I can see that the chat is a little skeptical there, maybe that there is an ulterior motive there, or, why would the government actually be honest with us? And then when you add the layer of, religion in there too, I mean, the reality is that that's just one more layer of someone being able to potentially add their own interpretation. So.
And then you also have, I forget what it's called, but some project or mission or something where they're saying that they're going to stage a fake alien invasion in order to get political support or something, or military support. And it's going to be fake, but they're good. It's a whole thing. And they've been saying that for a long time. So I don't know if it's actually going to happen. But the big idea for the show here is, if you take a strong position on this, whether you think Project Bluebeam, thank you so much. If you take a strong position on this, if you take the position of, no, aliens are definitely not real, let me know. Come on the show. Tell me why. If you think that aliens are definitely real, let us know. Come on the show. Tell me why. This show thrives best, I think, when we have guests on who take strong positions, and I can talk to them about those positions. So this show is kind of slow, I guess, but what we really want to do is have guests on so that Kelly can moderate and I can debate, because that's what I like to do. And I think Kelly likes to be peacekeeper, and that's what we really want to do. So people, if you have a position on this, please let us know. Please come on the show. All right.
Yeah. And that's not to say that I don't have strong opinions. I just enjoy the dynamic of being able to be the moderator and help everyone in the audience be able to hopefully see the best of both sides at the end of the day.
Yes. And if you have a strong opinion on a specific thing, like we've done it in the past, we did it a couple of shows ago, where you do the video thing and I have another opinion and we disagree in a civil and respectful manner. So, yes.
Do you know anything about this halogen collider? I don't know anything about it. So,
Oh, it's not the halogen collider, it's the hadron collider. And they tried to cover it up. One of my theories is something coming from, yeah, they say that it's like a time machine or a portal or something, that the hadron collider. I think that's what it is, right? Isn't it the hadron collider?
I don't know.
Hadron collider, right? Yeah, the Large Hadron Collider. Yep. But some people think that's a time machine or something, because of the way it does super weird physics stuff. All right, so I'm going to share a post. I think I mentioned it earlier. Yes, Large Hadron Collider. Let me see if I can find it still. I might have lost it.
We've got a lot of folks in the audience who are very on point with their alien UFO knowledge. So props to you guys.
Yeah, if any of you guys want to come on, and like, I love nothing. What I love to do is talk to people who have strong beliefs and talk to them about those beliefs.
Hey there, American Discourse. Thank you so much for stopping in. American Discourse is super knowledgeable about many, many topics. So I think this may be a topic that she's spot on about.
Underground and interdimensional. So people say that, what if they're in a different dimension? Doesn't really make sense to me, because like, I don't understand multiple dimensions. I don't think anybody does. It seems like they would still be here, just in a way that we can't understand. But anyway, so this is a tweet that Kelly sent that I think I mentioned earlier, but we might have some new viewers now who didn't see that. Kelly was talking about, God damn it, it doesn't, oh, she retweeted this post. So we had, okay, the White House Correspondents' Dinner shooting. We had some people who, we need to not show their rifles. I need to be careful not to do that, or the stream will get pulled. But anyway, when you look at the video they released of the White House, we're switching topics now. We're switching topics to how to be an investigative journalist, basically. This is a tweet that Kelly reposted. When you look at the video they posted of the White House Correspondents' Dinner shooting, there's there are 3 security guards in the background who all look to be female, maybe. The middle one, maybe not, I don't know. But they look scared. They run away like children, and people were just not impressed by their performance as members of the security community. These are those 3 people, and then someone was saying, this is exactly what DEI looks like. DEI gets people killed. And then Kelly reposted or quoted it or whatever, had some comments on that. But the important part was, she asked, why don't you do something useful like filing a FOIA? I'm not going to read your own words. Why don't you take it from there?
Okay, so I was being a little snarky, but I still had an important message to it. So I said, why don't you do something useful like file a FOIA and get information about every employee in that hallway, their training, and how they were assigned to the White House Correspondents' Dinner that Saturday night? You might end up with something much more impactful than a baseless claim thrown around on social media. I'll teach you how if you want to work together on it.
And this is coming from a very experienced investigative reporter. And did he DM you about that? Did he take you up on that?
No, unfortunately not. His loss, but all of our gain tonight.
Yeah. So I saw that and I'm like, I don't know. I've never done a FOIA request. I don't know how to get information on the employees in the hallway, their training, whatever. I don't know how to be an investigative journalist. That's never been my career path. But I know Kelly pretty well. So I wondered if you could teach me some of that stuff.
I would love to. And the thing is with the Freedom of Information Act and each state's individual Open Records Act, it is really just, it is open government, open season for how you are able to get a hold of records. You are able to, sorry, I see there's glare with my glasses, so I'll try to not wear them. So this is how you get to have the checks and balances for your government at a variety of levels. And it's actually pretty fun. It's a little nerdy, but it's pretty fun. And you get to see how your money is spent. You can hold your government accountable, and you can do it from the comfort of your own home. And so we decided, let's empower. You know, we are all about, actually, one of the things that Jordan and I has been kind of an ongoing theme over the last, how long have we been doing this now? 6-7 weeks or so?
December, or this show?
Yeah,
this
the
is
show.
number, so like 2 months now.
Yeah. So we encourage people to not just have an excuse as to why they haven't done something, but to feel empowered, ask the questions. And so that's what we're going to do with this little exercise. Is I'm going to show you guys how you can file your own FOIA, or we can also do a grandma request if you think that would be helpful.
So it's the
Which is
Freedom of
the
Information Act.
Utah Public Records Act. Go ahead.
So it's the Freedom of Information Act. Is that a federal law?
Yes. And so the term is kind of used a lot of times interchangeably. People will just say like a FOIA when they're talking about something within a state, but it applies to all of the federal agencies. One of my favorite things to FOIA is actually the FBI. And you can actually request your own FBI file. Did you know that, Jordan?
No, I know I have one, but I didn't know I could do that.
Yeah. And so, like, I can't request your file and you can't request my file because we are both living individuals. But if you are deceased, you can request a deceased individual's file. That's a fun fact of the day. So
the reason I say that is because when I went into the military, they took like a huge like palm print of my hand. They told me they were giving it to the FBI, so that's why I say that. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, so like I know I've requested mine in the past. It's been several years, so I know that I have one. But yeah, it would be. I say that it's fun for people to ask for their own file because you just never know what it's going to turn up. And in this day of surveillance, then, you know.
What
for me, for me at that time, I wanted to know if they were surveilling me as a journalist.
What prompted the Freedom of Information Act?
Oh gosh. I should know that story. I should know that story considering the fact that I've won a bunch of Freedom of Information Act awards over the years. So that's terrible that I don't.
What president was it signed under?
I don't know. Oh my gosh.
That's fine. We'll switch topics. I won't. Okay. All right. What's the difference between FOIA and grandma?
Okay, so FOIA is the federal statute, and grandma is what applies in Utah. So, for instance, so grandma is state specific. Yes.
So, could there be a grandma for Delaware?
There would be something different, but it's not going to be called a grandma. So, like when I lived in Colorado, it was called a CORA, Colorado Open Records Act. In Texas.
Sorry, it's so terrible to interrupt. Like you can't have a natural conversation where the delay. Sorry, go ahead.
It's okay. In Texas, it's TPIA, Texas Public Information Act. So every state has a different acronym, but regardless, every state has its own individual laws. Florida is known for being the Sunshine State and known for having, generally really good laws. But there is an organization that every year evaluates the 50 states and ranks them, 1 through 50 based on how well they respond to open records information, things like that. We can get real dorky, but
does FOIA govern grandmas? Is
no.
every state required to have its own version of grandma, or are there states without any version of grandma?
No, every state has its own. Now, I don't know if there's a piece of FOIA that requires every state. Probably so, but regardless, every state sets its own rules, individual rules, laws for its open records, and has their own appeals process, own fee structure, own exemptions, things like that.
If I want to know, I'm kind of jumping topics now. I just want to get an idea of what kind of records you can ask for with FOIA. In your tweet, you said you can get the employment records of a specific person in a specific security camera footage. Is that how that works?
Yes. So you could, so if it was just a random day, I would not be able to request that hotel's surveillance footage because the hotel is a private business. But because it was involved in a criminal incident, and the police then acquired that footage, that's what makes it subject to open records laws.
But now that it's been seized, it's in government possession, do you just have freedom to request just whatever the heck the government has, or what limitations are on what type of records?
Well, it depends on exactly what what topic you're wanting to explore. And sometimes they will use the open investigation out for them. But at some point, the investigation has to close.
Can't ask the government for their file on Tyler Robinson right now. So there are limits to it.
Exactly. You can ask. And I always say ask and be told no. Because you never know, you might get lucky. I would rather ask and then be told no, and maybe end up catching a few, what is it? You shoot for the moon and grab a few stars on the way down, right? You just never know what you might end up being able to grab on the way down. Or they may hold your request as pending until it's reached a point where they're able to provide it to you.
This question here, could we request Charlie Kirk's FBI?
Yes. Yep.
Has anyone done that?
And that's been on my list of things to do. I had seen, this was a few months ago. I want to say one of the national newspapers had requested it, and, they had were I guess not denied, but essentially denied. In the meantime, pending the open investigation.
What laws govern them? What policies, procedures govern? Is that in FOIA?
So let me pull up. Yes. So for example, I would say that would be what information would you be looking for? Would you be wanting? I would say you'd probably want the FBI file would be probably the most interesting. I mean, I'd even thought, I don't know if this would be public or not, but I would be curious to see, his passport. Could I get a list? Could I get a list of all of the countries that he had visited?
Especially the last one, right?
Right. Yeah.
So say I want to know this lady, or I think it's I don't know, this person's I want to know this person's name. How do I, how?
So because they are TSA, those are TSA officers. In that case, we'd be filing a request with the TSA, and we would be asking for, we'd be asking for the employment, or say probably, or information about all of the employees who were staffed at the event that night. For instance, like,
And they have to tell you.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yep.
How do we do it for
And
how do we get
when they don't, when they they're required by law, when they choose to not tell you something, they must cite a specific exemption. They cannot just say no, a blanket no. They have to be able to cite.
Where are those exemptions?
Let's see. If there may just be a FOIA.gov website. Let's see. Yes,
That's how
there's a
you would define it.
FOIA.gov. It's probably just as easy for you to pull that up if you can, since you're already.
F for Freedom of Information.
FOIA.gov.
Create a request search tool before you request. Maybe it's under there. No. Learn about FOIA. Nope.
And yes, this is a great point. I've thought about asking for a lot of those family members as well. Like the grandfather would probably not be denied. Any of those should be fair game. And so when you do ask for these folks that are not yourself, a lot of times you do need to provide something that indicates when they were dead, or when they were dead. Listen to me. Sorry, when they passed away, like an obituary or just something as an attachment with your request, just to prove. It just makes things easier to prevent like the back and forth.
Do you know? Might be easier if you pull it up. I don't know.
Okay. Yep. One moment.
I don't see anything before you request. Research. Identify what happens next. Disclose exemptions. I might have just found it. Exemption 1. This might be it. Exemption 1 protects information that's properly classified under criteria established by an executive order to be kept secret in the interest of national defense or foreign policy, as of course defined by somebody. I just lost it. Where did it go? Exemptions. Exemption 2 protects information related solely to the internal personnel rules and practices of an agency. What? Protects information related solely to the internal personnel rules and practices of an agency. Don't know what exactly that means. Exemption 3.
So if you wanted to type in, this was a great suggestion, Jordan, from Illuminomaly, FOIA.wiki or muckrock.com. FOIA.wiki is great. I have that pulled up right now. So I know it looks a little overwhelming when you first look at it. The other thing that you can do also is to use, your favorite AI as a guide.
As the legal assistant? I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's not that serious. Like,
It's
I always
if it
say,
gets wrong, it's right.
I always say that you're just like, it's like your first crack at it,
Did you want a screen share?
I can, sure. Let's see here. Okay. All right. So let's see if we are using FOIA.wiki, and then so if we go to like making a FOIA request. So this is very much like Wikipedia style. There's a site that I was telling Jordan about before we started that I hope to do a stream with soon, and it's pretty cool. It looks very user friendly, and she had approached me. One of the founders of the site had approached me on LinkedIn a few weeks ago, just because of my investigative reporting background, and was wanting me to beta test it for her. So I'd like to do a stream with her. I think it would be really fun. But here's just like a sample request template right here. Usually you want to, and I have other templates that, would be cool for me to maybe share with you guys if you're interested in really submitting your first FOIA. But you do want to say what you're willing to pay. What you're willing to pay up to. But usually you will say that, like, I'm requesting a fee waiver.
What's a common amount?
I mean, it depends on what information you're wanting. Like, I'd have to look and see what they are charging, like, for copies these days.
Like $10, $50, $500.
Well, a lot of times they will do a CD that they could send you. I don't know if now they've updated it, but for instance, like when I got my FBI file, they sent it to me on a CD versus sending it to me, in paper. But I think I had to pay like $10 or something for the CD.
So it's not like $500.
Yeah, no, it was a nominal fee. It was just, it was annoying, but not that much.
It's not.
I've had when back in the day, when I was working on rape kit testing stories in Colorado, I think the largest estimate that I got was, over $100,000 or something like that for records. We obviously didn't pay that as a station for wanting to know how many sex assault kits that the police had received and how many they had tested. And they said, oh, well, that's not a number that we keep track of. And I was like, okay, well, you know what? We're going to do a story about that part because, do you keep track of, the bags of dope that you have in your evidence room? Yeah. Yeah. Got it. So like, do you keep track of the, amount of pew-pews, that you have in there? And so they're like, yeah, we do. Okay, the amount that you've sent off for testing, yeah, we do. All right.
So they're not prioritized.
No, not prioritized at all. And so it was really just a lot of times like agencies will throw out a number because they don't want to deal with it.
Yeah. Okay. So
you have to call them on their bluff.
Yeah.
Let's see here, but there are, so if you're looking at grandma, let's see, hold on.
How do I?
So, oh, sorry, it flipped to the different screen. Hold on one second.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Jordan.
I want to do one of these for Charlie before we're done.
Okay. Yeah. So in case anyone is interested in filing a grandma request in Utah, so you can just basically just type in Utah open records or Utah grandma request. And you just make I think I've already signed in, but you just make an account right quick. And then they have this portal where then you will pick whatever agency that it is that you wish to inquire with. Let's see. If you got fragments of a larger request, but they denied the rest, do you sit on it until you get what you want or put it out there? I don't know. I'm worried they will retaliate and give me nothing more because I do feel like they don't want to give the stuff in the first place.
We want to feel empowered.
Yeah. I'd love to talk through the situation with you more to understand.
Okay, but anyway, back to
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. It is tough because here's the thing is that maybe there's someone else who can work in tandem with you. Sometimes we have to do the little good cop, bad cop. And, it's helpful to have someone else who can also be filing requests too.
Agents. There's so many agencies. Jesus.
There are so many agencies. Yeah. I mean, just imagine. Okay. Here's another fun thing. I'm just picking this, for example, is like looking at audits. That's really fun to look at audits because in that case, a lot of times they have done so much of the legwork for you, or it gives you a great idea of a topic that you can dive into and then dig into further. That's just one example. Or you can look at an old audit and think like, oh, I wonder if they have cleaned up their act since then, because a lot of times with government agencies, they get outed once and then they don't clean up their act in the future. They just keep on doing things as they always have.
Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of agencies.
A ton of agencies. Anyway, depending on what one might be interested in looking at, this is the portal where you would go. So if anyone had any kind of questions that they would want to know a little bit more about, I'm not an expert on Utah open records laws. There are nonprofits though, like the Society of Professional Journalists and things like that. I mean, I'm sure they would be tickled pink to help someone who is a citizen journalist wanting to learn more about, filing a records request in Utah, for example. And so by all means, like, don't feel intimidated.
What was the
if
name
you're
of
curious,
that?
like you just go for it. What was that?
What was the name of that you said?
The Society of Professional Journalists. And that is not only a national organization, but also has chapters in every single state, and then also regional chapters within.
But not like TPUSA chapters.
No. And trust me, Society of Professional Journalists, they're going to run a tight ship. They are not flying around on private jets. Okay. We definitely look down upon things like that.
So let's say, are you done with yours?
Yes.
Do you have more stuff to get through with your screen share?
No, I'm good.
Okay, I'm going to put mine back on because I want to do this. I want to do an FBI request for Charlie. So I'm going to guess what I should do. FOIA.gov. Okay. Learn about the FOIA process. Start a request with a specific agency. And it's loading. Search an agency, the FBI,
Mm-hmm.
I guess.
Yep.
Federal Bureau. Where is it? Farm, federal. It's not here. What have I done?
Did you go past it?
I don't think so. Farm,
I was looking down
federal
for a second.
communications. It should be between farm and federal communications.
Okay, well, if it's not there, then I would just you can type in it's probably through the Department of Justice. I would say the easier, yeah. Since you're already there, let's see, Department of Justice. There you go. There you go. Federal Bureau of Investigation.
17 working days for simple requests. Continue the process. Start a request. Make your request. First name. Should I actually do this for real?
Yeah, why not?
And then I'm going to take this off. Okay, now it says I am clear. All right. I don't need to do that one, don't need to do that one, but it does need my address. And I am definitely clear.
Rosie Suspicions really liked the thumbnail photo today. Went full on Marsha Clark. You know what? I mean, it's kind of what I used to look like. Believe it or not, if you look up, I think that was Kelly Raybon Denver days. So yeah, that was a throwback Thursday, literally.
Now, domestic means like within the country. So it would be
Yes.
domestic. Foreign and domestic, I knew that one. Is the subject of your request a deceased individual? I'm making this request on behalf of myself, or technically an organization, try and prove it, but it's not a legal entity yet. Deceased individual's first name, Charles. Well, allegedly deceased.
That's right.
So if it doesn't work, we know why, right?
That's what I'm going to say.
Tiberius. I think it's, what is this? I don't know. I'm not gonna share my screen anymore because I don't know if it's gonna flash my address. But his middle name, I think it's Tiberius, right? Tiberius Kirk. Or is that the Star Trek guy?
What? What?
No, it's Charles James Kirk. Charles James Kirk.
It's James. I was like, are you joking?
No, it's Captain Kirk in Star Trek. His middle name is Tiberius. Charlie's is James. Okay. His last name is Kirk. I don't know his social security or his alien registration. I don't know his FBI number. What's his place of birth? Chicago, right?
Just outside of there. Hold on, I'll get that.
I think it's Chicago. Or at least that's where he grew up. I don't think that's important. I think they know who Charlie Kirk is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know his date of birth, or I know his alleged date of death. 9, 10, 20, 25. Allegedly. Can I put that in there? I can't put that in there. It's not date formatted.
Oh my goodness.
Deceased individual's additional information. What do I put there?
Oh, he would. For the record, he was born allegedly in Arlington Heights, Illinois. Arlington Heights.
Illinois. Okay. Deceased individuals, additional information. What am I supposed to put there?
Say that again.
The field, I guess I can show it again. Deceased individuals, additional information.
Oh, so basically that would be just like any details about him. Like I know that he was a political commentator. He lived in Illinois. He lived in Arizona. He was a Republican. He
Okay, I'll just put that. I think they know who he is.
Yeah, but I would still put that in there just because here's the thing is that you want them to search in the different states that you know that he's lived.
Okay, so I'll put Illinois, Arizona, and yeah, Illinois and Arizona, I think. All right. And then date of birth, I don't know. Place of birth. Didn't we just say that?
Date of birth is October 14th, 1993.
Okay. Then place of birth was Arlington Heights.
Arlington Heights, Illinois.
It just made me fill that out. Paste. All right. All right. By providing electronic signature, I declare under penalty of perjury under the laws of the U.S. that the foregoing is true and correct. I am the person named above. I'm not Charlie Kirk. Hold on. Named above at the top. Okay. I understand that any falsification is punishable by a lot, and that by requesting or obtaining any record under false pretenses is also punishable. Yes. Signature typed.
Yeah. And the other reason as well with, a name such as Charles Kirk, or if you are, and you did write Charles Kirk, not just Charlie.
Did.
Okay.
I did. I think.
It's because there very well could be another Charles Kirk that was born on October 14th, 1993.
Like you know who? Like Charles Kirkland?
Right. Exactly. And so, we want to provide specific information so that way they don't come back and say, oh, well, there are 50 other people who match this description. Your request is too vague.
All right. It says, I think I can show this. If I dox my address, I can just move, right? All right. Upload additional documentation, acceptable formats. If you're seeking records about yourself, required to verify your identity, but I'm not going to do that right now. If you're requesting records on yourself and need to authorize release of information to another person, use that. Not doing that. Oh, proof of death documentation. Says if the subject of your request is a deceased individual, you can include proof of death documentation. Can we FOIA that?
Yeah. Actually, that's yes.
Okay, how do we FOIA
See how
that?
fun this is, you guys? Like this is a good time.
New tab. How do we FOIA that?
Well, the proof of death would be through Utah, right? That's kind of what's in dispute right now.
Utah.gov. Let's go. Utah Grandma. Government records access. Here we go. This is what you had up.
Yep. Jordan is on a roll.
Oh, it's one of these ones. Request made to what government agency or office would it be?
Let's see. If it's is it the state? It's the medical examiner's office? Hold on.
Records officer
or the
name.
or the coroner's office. Hold on.
Has anyone done this yet?
I mean, I haven't. It's one of those things that, you say you're going to do and then you don't do.
What college did he
Okay,
go
Office
to?
of the
He went
Medical Examiner. Oh, go ahead.
the office
Of the Medical Examiner, which is within the Utah Department of Health and Human Services.
I think that should work. So that's literally all you have to do right here. All right, here's some questions it has. Description of records, including all relevant title, death certificate, death. Description of records, including all relevant information. I just want the certificate of death. Because I don't believe you. Is that what you put there? Name of involved.
You know what? I think now I'm remembering. I think that, let me see. I think that their law, I'm pulling it up right now. I think their law might be that conveniently, only the spouse, the immediate relative can request in Utah. Can request.
Can we FOIA Erica? Can we FOIA Erica?
No, because she's alive.
God fucking damn it.
Language.
But that's confirmed. We can't.
I mean, I don't know. I guess you actually, you know what? You could try. I don't know. Some people say there's like 4 versions of her. So
Depends on who you ask.
Yeah, it's debatable.
Details for records that may have restricted access. Some records may be classified as private, control protected. Okay. Well, how do I know if it has where did you see that a certificate of death is exempt? Was that AI or?
No. I am in the Office of the Medical Examiner. I'm just reading it right now as we're
You
we're
want a
talking.
screen share?
Sure.
Adding you now.
Okay. Let's see.
Oh, I think you have a different window open.
I still have the, yeah. Let me figure out which one I'm in. There we go. Okay, here's where I'm currently at. Like, can I get more information about your investigation? And then let's see here. Immediate family members, legal guardians, authorized legal representatives are the only ones that are entitled to that report.
What if I appoint myself as Charlie's lawyer?
I mean, I don't know. I guess you could try.
Attorney or executor providing a signed release from the next of kin or court order. I'm neither, unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, you'd have to take that up with Judge Graff, I guess.
Is there a death verification? I don't know what that means.
That's a good question.
That's our job, right?
Right. That's our job. Let's see.
Utah has a death certificate portal. Is that actually true?
Okay, let's try that.
Probably not. Dead air. Can't it be through Arizona State? Why the state of death? Oh, are we looking at it for Utah? Oh, your thing is being.
Well,
I just took you back off because you had like random chat things on.
Oh,
titles. Go ahead.
Why are we not looking in Arizona? Well, because I believe that because he was, the incident happened in Utah. He was examined in Utah.
Yeah. But the funeral and all that was in Arizona, allegedly. So wouldn't that?
Yes,
I guess they would get the certificate of death from Utah, but the funeral home
because
in Arizona. All right. All right. Can you collapse the side panel there so I'm not like doxing your AI conversations? Because I always hide the side panel when I pull up ChatGPT. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Let's see here.
Apparently Sam Parker tried some of these.
I don't remember seeing what all he tried. I know that he was trying a few because I was helping him kind of think through some of them or talk through some of them, and I'd made the suggestion about the SPJ there also. But
What
and
is
he
the
had
best
a
one
great.
we should try? Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say he
had a
did a
great-
great job with the 911 calls. From what I recall early on, that was one of the big things that he broke was actually getting those calls. Was compelling, very compelling. Okay,
What
so
is
I
the-
have this mortality application portal open, but I think that's more, from what I can tell, it's like specifically for funeral home, health department, medical facility, medical examiner folks. So I don't think that we're going to qualify for that one.
That sucks. Okay. Do we feel like we did that topic justice now?
I think so. I mean, look, we can always revisit it. This is something that there's plenty of there's always, I don't know, fruit to be picked, off of this tree. So
What
I'm
is
glad
the
that people
most
were
important
interested.
thing? Yeah, for the people in the audience, because I have ADHD, I'm not going to actually do it. But for the people in the audience, you might actually do it. What is the most important thing that they can FOIA for the Charlie Kirk case right now?
Depends on what aspect they are most interested in. I mean, are they interested in getting information about what the school did? Are they interested in getting information about what kind of licenses certain people held? Do they want to, would they like to get records on the details regarding the paving over of the alleged crime scene?
Can we get records? Can we get records from a military base?
You can request, yeah. Slick Dog on X, I know I'm not sure if he ever got anything back from his request, but he had requested several things from the fort.
Yeah, so those are some ideas for you guys.
And another thing would be interesting too for folks in whatever state that you're in. This would be super helpful, I think, and could be sort of a crowdsourced way of helping. Is if you wanted to put in a request and we could coordinate. You're welcome to email me, but for like your local university, if there's a university in your state that you know that TPUSA has had one of these tour stops at before, I'd be curious to know what the security plan looked like there and how long it was filed ahead of time. And, when did they get their permits and, all of those types of things. It would be very interesting to look back in time and see how they handled that in different states compared to September 10th. What are you giggling about?
Can do it again. He did it again. Sorry, what's going on?
I just saw you giggling, so I wasn't quite sure what you were laughing about. Illuminati, were you saying that you checked in at a different university to see about security plans? I'm curious if you did or if you had checked in on something else. If you're willing to share, by all means, love to know.
All right, sort of moving on, or same topic, but moving on to more general questions about your experience as a real investigative journalist, not a YouTube investigative journalist. What separates a real investigative journalist from a YouTuber pretending to be?
Gosh, I mean, look, I don't want to knock on. This is not a knock on anybody, right? But I think that there's
what qualifications, what schooling, what training do you have that would allow you to call yourself that?
I mean, I did what I would say continuing education every year, even though, so I didn't go to a fancy journalism school. I had an English degree from Texas Lutheran University. And so, but I did intern at a TV station in San Antonio and at Fox News in DC for several years. And
what is that intern? Sorry.
What was that?
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I had some, on the job experience, but when it comes to continuing education, I got very involved in investigative reporters and editors. It's a professional organization that has a conference every year that is just like chock full of training. And it's like 3.5 days of intensive training every single June. And I may even actually go back this year. So I spoke at those conferences, like, gosh, I don't know, 8+ years.
What kind of training?
So everything from, say, FOIA training to how to conduct an undercover investigation. You would learn about proper, laws and ethics, especially when it comes to, say, if you were running an undercover investigation, what's like appropriate use of undercover scenarios, sourcing. You learn maybe, say, tips and tricks for different beats. So if you were on the education beat versus the environmental beat, or cops and courts beat, topic. Okay. So if you were focused, say, on investigating schools, and so you would maybe do some of the courses on investigating school districts, even maybe sports programs within colleges, within high schools, curriculum, at private schools versus public schools, like money that how like grants may be misused, how teachers may not be reporting crimes against students because it doesn't look good on the school I mean, you learn like all kinds of not just story ideas, but how to properly investigate. You learn about what to do if, you do find yourself in the midst of a lawsuit, and how to try to bulletproof your investigation ahead of time. So you are setting yourself up to be protected as best as possible.
What did the internship entail?
I mean, I was.
Was it training in how to investigate?
Yes, I was basically just part of the team, really. You maybe start out just logging tape, like transcribing interviews and things. I see someone asking about if I'm a boomer. I'm 41. So I'm not a boomer. I don't think that makes me a boomer. But anyway, so I was really I was a part of the team. I was conducting full-blown investigations. In fact, one of my big stories that I was very proud of, the kid ended up getting, I say kid, I mean, this guy ended up getting arrested by the feds and charged with, he was making fake IDs that it turns out ended up being sold to Russian terrorists. So, and that was like a story that I did all on my own. Oh gosh, let's see. What are you giggling about? What happened?
You're making too many comments.
What
Anyway,
happened? Okay.
Okay.
No.
All right. So that's a lot of training each year on how to. A lot of training that people on YouTube don't have. What is? Sorry, I'm tired. Another
So
topic
it's a
is,
lot of focus. It's a lot of focus on not just on the training. There's an expectation of getting your facts straight. There's a level of accountability every single day. You're as good as your last story, and your reputation is gold. It's not just fast and loose.
what principles guide an investigative journalist? Is that too deep a question?
It's a deep question. I think it might be different for others. I mean, for me, it's a burning desire to get to the truth and to help right some wrongs. I skew a little bit more on the side of I don't want to say activist investigative journalist, but proactive, because I like to empower people. I always wanted solutions oriented. How about that? Solutions oriented. I
I mean, give
always
you an
wanted
example.
to not just expose a problem, but to also show what the alternative, what the solution would be. So for instance, like the very first big investigation I did, I was 21 years old, just out of college, and I won a bunch of national awards and changed the laws in Mississippi. It was about former meth homes. And so basically there was, meth busts. It was like the beginning of the boom of the meth epidemic. And people didn't realize that after the drug bust, the cops haul out the chemicals, but these homes were left still coated in very, very dangerous chemicals. And so people unknowingly were moving into these homes months, even years later. And then they were having these reactions as they were developing asthma, skin issues, headaches, all kinds of stuff. And
Did you just tell me
had
about
no
that?
idea why. What's up?
You just told me that, didn't you? That's
I
really
think so.
familiar for some reason.
Yeah, I think I might have just shared that with you. So, in addition to going and knocking on these people's doors and telling them, "Hey, did you know that this used to be a meth lab?" And they had no idea, right? Once I had done that initial story, I already knew in my mind that I didn't just want to leave these people with like this devastating fact that they were living in a place that was really, really harmful to them. But I wanted to try to do something about it as well. And so, I found, but the state didn't have a system at that time to, protect them, help them, educate them about what their options were. So anyway, I found
And that
companies
doesn't come up
that
in a home inspection. That
no,
doesn't come up in a home inspection.
not at the
Like,
time, but now many states have enacted laws that do require it to be on a home disclosure form as a
because
result
like
of the story.
if I'm the maintenance guy for that house, or if I'm like inspecting it not as a licensed home inspector, but because someone, one of my real estate investors wants to buy a house and they ask me to take a look at it, I'm not going to be able to walk into that house and immediately know that it was a meth lab.
No, you
Nothing I
wouldn't.
can do to protect them, I don't think,
Right.
right?
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, so I found companies that were able to professionally clean the meth homes and eradicate the harmful chemicals that had, otherwise been left behind in the air ducts and, in the paint everywhere.
What symptoms do people have? I'm curious because if I have like I've had some pretty weird cases where I have people with some health symptoms in a house and they're blaming the HVAC or they're blaming mildew, mold. What kind of symptoms do people have from that? This is kind of off
Mhm.
topic, but I'm
Yeah. So headaches, respiratory problems like asthma, um, random skin rashes. There were, a variety of different things that popped up over time.
just not very specific, and it sounds like some of the stuff I've come across. That'll have to be added to my list of things to research next time I get
Mhm.
one of those calls. Thank you.
Well, there's
But on
definitely some specific tests that you can do, swabs that you can do to test the vents to see if meth is detected.
so my question was principles. Let me give you an example. When I need to turn these comments off. I can't focus. When I'm working as an apartment maintenance technician and I'm going into a rental house, my principle that guides me is this is someone's okay. Some apartment maintenance guys will knock on the door when they need to go in to fix something. They'll knock on the door once, they'll wait 10 seconds, then they'll knock again, and then they're going in using their key. And they have this feeling about it that it's not the tenant's home, that it's not the resident's home, that it is the property manager's home, and they can go in and fix whatever they want, and the tenant is just a pest. But that's not the principle I go by. The principle I go by is this is the tenant's private home. I am their guest as long as it's not an emergency. And I need to respect their privacy. I need to respect their right to privacy. First and foremost, I want them to feel like they have control over the work I do in their home. And when I walk in there and I ask them, hey, what's going on? Super open-ended question. I want them to feel like they have control over the work that's done inside their home as if they were the homeowner and not just a tenant. So the way I manifest that is by I have a very specific procedure that I follow every time, no matter who I'm working for. I go up to the door, I knock loudly, then I take 3 big steps back so that I'm not an imposing force on their front door, so that they don't feel threatened. And then I have this whole procedure to make them not feel threatened, and to make sure that they have control over the situation. So that's one of the principles that guides my work as an apartment maintenance technician, making sure that the renter or the tenant feels like the privacy in their home is respected. What's maybe a similar principle in journalism that might be sort of parallel to that?
Well, I think when someone trusts you to tell their story, that is an immense responsibility. And it's something that I took and something that I continue to take very, very seriously. It's not something that is just a flash in the pan to me. It's not something because I have, since I've left the TV news business, I've been on the flip side, and I have, been part of other people's stories. I've been interviewed by reporters. And so now I realize that level of vulnerability that you really feel, not just in that moment of being interviewed, but once they like walk out of the door with, your words on tape and are going to edit it and preparing to put it on. I mean, that is a very vulnerable spot, because you've literally just given your story to someone else to let them tell as they wish. And so anyway, that's just it's something that I take and hold very sacred, and that I take very seriously.
Two weeks ago now, I think it was, the super long court hearing you did with Trigger Smart. It was like all day long. One of the questions I wanted to ask you, and I think I did, but I don't think it ever came up, when they were talking about, or when the one guy, it's not very specific, the guy who did the study on whether or not the people in the town had bias, he said that, sorry, I'm getting tired. He
Me
said
too.
that there were stories in the media that were super, super biased, and these TV reporters, whatever, were not doing what they should have done. What I wanted to ask was, what kind of ethics rules are those reporters supposed to follow? Like what are the rules? What's the right way to report on Tyler Robinson? Is that something I can ask?
I mean, that's a deep question as well. I think that I'll say this. I've been quite disappointed with even the national media. I think about even the way that Megyn Kelly, for example, has thrown around Tyler Robinson's name, early on. But I mean, she's the first one who comes to mind for me. But a lot of folks, when they talk about him, they don't say allegedly, they don't say accused, they just say it as though it's already been, he's already been convicted. And it's like, hold on a second, the guy hadn't even had a chance to enter a plea. And so that really bothers me a lot. So I do think that there's a large amount of responsibility that has been overlooked or shirked in this case. And I just have to wonder if it's not intentional, because this sort of edict of following a predetermined narrative has been placed on folks. And so, yeah, I think that guy was also referring to the comments made by like President Trump and things, Trump was calling for the death penalty right away. And, I mean, everyone was saying, Tyler did it, Tyler did it, Tyler did it. And it's like, what? We hadn't seen one stitch of evidence.
Yeah. So the principle there would be like innocent until proven guilty,
Mhm.
which I just wrote a Twitter post about that last night, but that's a separate issue because well, an investigative reporter investigating a specific case, you would do that in private. Like if you suspect one person of being a criminal, you would withhold that until you have the full story. But in this case, where you're just reporting on a Tyler Robinson, then you should do innocent until proven guilty because you're just reporting on a criminal trial, I think.
Mhm. Yeah, and I did want to mention because I have seen a few people bring up this topic about gag orders being violated, especially TPUSA witness old Blake Neff. Well, so here's the thing about the gag orders is that it really only applies to it. The onus is on the lawyers, first of all, for them to not be in the press speaking about the case. And then as sort of secondarily, and I'm not an attorney, I'm not a lawyer, so I'm conveying this to you guys, but I mean I've read this stuff enough that I have a decent understanding of it. That the first layer is on the lawyers on both sides. The second layer then is on those lawyers to tell who they believe would be their key witnesses who will definitely be testifying that you are not to speak out about the case and you will be under this gag order because I intend for you to be a witness in the case. So zip it.
Yeah. What tool did you use the most often as an investigative journalist? It's like a tool that like most people could use if only they knew about it. Something like FOIA.
How about the phone?
Yeah.
You know, people, I think, no, but I mean, here's the thing is that people don't take the time to talk enough. And I think it's even more than, you know, what it was 10 years ago, right? People are just, they would much rather just make a predetermined decision in their mind and say, okay, well, this is what it is. And I'm just going to do a couple of searches and decide that this is how it is instead of talking, reaching out, you know, getting perspective. Yeah. So I think getting perspective.
Yeah.
But that's
Like
not really what
forming a
you were looking for.
conclusion
You
about
wanted like a good, you know, website or tool or something, I guess.
No, that's exactly what I was looking for because that's something
Okay.
everyone has and it's not just
Yeah.
some dumb website that I'm gonna forget.
Yeah.
It's wise. Like if you want to make a conclusion about somebody, particularly a bad one, what if it's because of a misunderstanding? What if you're going to accuse this person of this horrible thing where the whole time you could have just called him and asked him, why did you do this? Why did you do that? They might be able to give you a perfectly innocent answer that you wouldn't have otherwise thought of. And now you realized that it was all just a big mistake. All you had to do was pick up the phone and call them.
Right.
But like the deeper we get into social media and all these things and YouTube and all this stuff, the more likely we are to form certain opinions without actually talking to people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, please, folks, do not just rely on what AI says, you know, because use that as one tool in your toolbox, but please do not just think that it is the end all be all.
Okay, so this is interesting. Let me see if my brain can get up to speed to communicate this properly. I like to fix things. I'm a mechanic. I'm a technician. I see something broken. I want to fix it, and I get a lot of confidence by fixing things. If there's something that's broken in a room, I walk in, I see it, I'm like, oh yeah, I can fix that, no problem. Because I have a very long history of being able to fix things and get things done. And I walk into it and it's in one condition. I do something and then I walk out and it's in a much, much better condition over and over and over and over and over again over the years. So I know that I know how to fix things and I know that I can make that kind of positive change. Your story is similar. It's not fixing tangible things, but it's things like changing laws. You look at a dumb law and you have a long history of being able to make them less dumb. So laws to you aren't these things written in stone that you can't do anything about. No, there's things you can change. How do you start thinking like someone who can actually change laws?
No, that's so true. I don't look at a law as a roadblock. I look at it as something that can be tweaked, adjusted, modified. And I think laws are some people say laws are meant to be broken. I mean, rules are meant to be broken. I mean, laws are meant to be modified. Right. And so I think that's that is the approach that I've taken. It's just a proactive way of looking at life.
On Jesse was saying when we were on Jesse on Fire, I think last week, Jesse said, like, we're probably never going to solve this case. It's always going to be open-ended. We're never really going to know for sure. And I'm like, no, we're going to find this out. We're going to solve it. It's going to be solved. We can definitely do this. This is a problem we can solve. No big deal. It's probably going to take a lot of work, a lot of time, but no, we can totally solve this problem. How do you get from just a normal mere mortal who has no idea how on earth to change a law? Like what's the first step in actually doing it?
Understanding what the law is, understanding what the problem is, and how many people it affects, what the sort of the gravity of the situation is, and reaching out to your local state representative or city council person, just depending on what the situation is. I mean, you could start with something that's a city ordinance, or your HOA, or your school board maybe, has a policy. I mean, they're all, or at work, there's a policy that's stupid that drives you nuts. And it's something that you can change. You can affect change. You can start small and look at those things as like little wins. And there's no reason why you can't be the person who affects change all the way to the state level and to the national level too.
So it starts with just picking up the phone and calling your representative.
Yeah. I mean, because here's the thing is everyone wants to be, I think a core value of most people is you want to win and you want to be a champion. And if there's something that you have identified that's broken and you come up with a potential solution, and you're bringing it to a lawmaker, then you're kind of like giving them an opportunity to do something good.
Probably helps to know the right people, right?
It does, but you don't necessarily have to be in the know. You just have to be passionate. And I see Reginators saying, well, what if they don't return my calls? I mean, you send emails, you go show up. They do a lot of them will do like town hall kind of things, or you talk to their competitor. It's election season for a lot of folks. You talk to a competitor, who's running against them.
What's the most important law you changed that we wouldn't know about?
Probably the one that I talked about earlier with the essay.
That we wouldn't know about?
Yeah. That's one that, well, I mean, let's see.
I've seen your video on that. I was wondering about other ones that I
Yeah.
wouldn't know about.
Oh, the one, okay, here, I mean, there's a fun one that I'm going to say fun.
Not to make that like less important. I just listened to your video on that like a week ago. That's why I was wondering about a new one.
Okay, so in Mississippi, it used to, I guess, be allowed to sell a baby, but I did change the law against selling babies in Mississippi. Yeah, so it basically what happened was there was a woman who had literally like tried to sell her baby, and once she ended up getting arrested, I know it's crazy, but it's true. And they realized that they could not actually charge her with that crime. They ended up only being able to charge her with like child abuse. And they realized that they didn't have something stronger on the books. And so it gave me an opportunity to push for that law. And so I reached out to, to a lawmaker. His name was Doug Davis. And, yep. And he was in Hernando, Mississippi.
That should have been an easy subject line in the email, right?
It was easy. That was a win, an easy win.
That's where you can start off with something that's like painfully obvious, that is obviously broken. That's your subject line.
Yeah.
There's a super chat from Mountain Star Studio. They're talking about newspaper clippings and obituaries are good tools.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Yes, absolutely. And it is kind of fun too, like a little walk down memory lane to, go to. A lot of the stuff now you can find online, but going to your local library is pretty cool too. And being able to look at things on the microfilm, the microfiche, and look at the really old stuff. That's when you're like digging. So that was actually a really cool investigation that I did about civil rights era cold cases there was one in particular that I solved when the FBI said that they had exhausted all their resources and were unable to track down and solve the civil rights cold case. Yeah. And so I was like, I bet I can figure it out. And so sure enough, I did. Again, in Mississippi.
Yeah. Good job.
Well, thanks. Yeah. Rosy suspicions. Oh, wait, yeah, I didn't see that, but yeah. Something about that? Erica Kirk. No, Erica Kirk bought the last 2 purchasable babies in Mississippi.
All right, that was my last question there. Let's go through the starred ones here. Can't believe Candace seems to trust Mikey. Yeah, that whole thing is crazy. I don't know why any of those people trust any of those people. It's all just drama. Any thoughts on that?
Oh, yeah. So I think that's crazy. I think there's got to be something more to it because, well, if I'm able to get my story out, I mean, I have to get my story out tomorrow, but you'll hear some bizarre stuff from Mikey and Rob McCoy. I mean, the way that they are ingrained into TPUSA and, have steered the direction of that ship. There's something else, in my opinion, something else going on for her to make that sort of shift. And frankly, I don't believe that she should have been using either any of those folks at the top level of TPUSA as her primary sources to begin with. I'm not in her head. I don't know, if she really was or wasn't, or if she was just saying that, but not wise.
This is what's going on, Kelly.
Who did this mess? Cody, did you make this mess? Who did this mess?
That's what's really going on.
Yeah. Oh my
I don't
gosh.
think you would get a good grip on that. You would get a good grip on something like this, but not on a big hand. It's not going to fit. That's what she said. All right. Shooting the cross to puncture the neck blood pouch is a very weak part of your theory. That's not. There's multiple versions of that. I haven't quite figured that out yet, but we're getting there. Can we prove that Hunter? You know what? I should take that more seriously. Yeah, I've said that from the beginning. I don't know that the cross is actually in a place to reliably actually cut the prosthetic. That's why I've been talking about blowing out a plug using. So this is the pin. This goes up. This goes to the pendant gun, and then this one goes to the hose. That's the necklace that flies out. That is a pressurized tube, I believe, and that's blowing out a plug, I think, in the prosthetic, perhaps. But it could also be a pop-up device. But the reason for the shirt behavior would be to hide this area while whatever happens, happens. So that is valid criticism that I should not dismiss. And I'm not dismissing it. I'm working on it every day. But thank you. Was Hunter Kozak banned from the events? Oh, yeah. He's totally a mole. And that's not how you spell
Yeah.
it. But,
And it doesn't make sense to me that, that the security did not, they should have immediately identified that, hey, this is a guy who's on our list, who's already been, banned before. I mean, that's one of the many reasons why I certainly feel like this whole thing was staged, crafted, choreographed, all the things. I mean, they pick who gets to ask what questions. There's just literally no excuse. I mean, I think Charlie knew who Hunter was. In my opinion, I think Charlie knew who Hunter was.
I think they all did. And you have the stories coming out now about how it's all staged, it's all scripted. The people who are allowed to go ask questions are pre-selected. So how did not the leader of the opposition group, but the second to the leader of the opposition group, he only gets there if they want him there. And I think he's a mole, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning he actually works for TPUSA. I think, I can't assert that with confidence, but that's what it seems like to me. So now we're to believe the government is going to come clean over UFO aliens and not double down on their deceit. Probably a mixture of both, like Kelly said. Hockey Girl says we'll get 10% truth and 90% cover up. Yep. Maybe even covering up stuff in their own way. Hadron Collider. I think we already did that one.
Yeah, I think so too.
Phenomenons or NASA workings. Perfect. We have another squibber.
Welcome to the crew. You're in good company.
If Charlie's alive, how do you think he could come back? Could Trump pardon him or something else? I don't think he's coming back. Do you think Charlie faked his death to expose how evil the left is? No, I don't think so. I think he faked his death for a deeply emotional reason, probably because of fear of a real attack. I think that remains the strongest hypothesis. Would you agree, Kelly?
Yes, I would. And we won't ever see Charlie again as if he walks in the United States again, he's not walking as Charlie Kirk, that's for sure.
That was a massive operation that you don't just undo for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
Kenny Veach. I know I've heard that name before. I don't know who it is, though. Who is Kenny Veach? It's like the disappearance of Kenny Veach. In 2014, he was an outdoorsman YouTuber. Oh, I know that dude. Yeah, he's the guy who got lost at like Area 51 or something. Yeah. You can probably find him. Do you know who that is?
No, I don't. I'll have to look into it.
He's the guy who went missing in the jungle, basically. There was a group of Jack says there was a group of campers that had the missing time phenomenon. They put them under hypnosis and they all described the same thing to a sketch artist. Okay. I don't know what they described. I don't know. They might be talking to somebody else. They're probably talking to somebody else in the chat. Do you know what that was? I didn't star that.
Mm-mm. I started just because I didn't know about it, so I thought maybe you or someone else knew about it.
They must be talking to somebody. Does anyone know if Hockey Girl again says, does anyone know if Project Looking Glass is related to the Hadron Collider? There's so many projects, I forget which one that is. Which one is Project Looking Glass? Project Looking Glass. But the Y-Files would be a great resource for that. Oh, that's the time viewer. That's like the time machine viewer thing. I don't think so. I think I just listened to some really long show on that. I think that's the one where the ship disappears or goes back in time or something. I don't think that has anything to do with the Hadron Collider. Something similar to that. I don't remember. I can look that up. I don't, Kelly, do you have, I don't think you would have any thoughts on that. Okay. I've heard American Discourse News. I've heard that too. Jackie or coming for. I've heard that took Jackie. What is this? What is this supposed to say?
That too, Jackie.
I
mean, Jackie might have been a person's name who they were responding to at the time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
This must be from a different conversation. Finally made sense. Charlie not wearing a vest that day. He always wore one. I realized getting zapped and vest didn't mix well. I think he was wearing a vest, but not wearing this kind of vest, but not like a bulletproof vest, because we can see his nipples and they don't make those. He was bracing, I agree. Grimace face, preparing for the pain. Some people say that it was too quick, that it was just closing his eyes, but he was bracing. Michael says, guys, thoughts on the nope. Why was that highlighted? I don't know why that was highlighted. And we just did that one. All right.
Awesome.
We are at 2 hours, 30 minutes. Any closing thoughts, Kelly?
Oh, no. Just thank you to everyone for sticking with us, for for your continued support. Oh, you should put up the GoFundMe for the continued investigative support.
We do, or I do, or we do. Yeah, we do weekly or usually weekly field demonstrations of what we think happened to Charlie, or what I think happened to Charlie Kirk, or what we think is a strong hypothesis for what happened to Charlie Kirk. I think we're both definitely in agreement there. And it takes a lot of stuff, takes a lot of equipment, and takes not too much money, but a little bit of money. And this is the GoFundMe that I have. I don't have a link to it right now, but you can probably Google it. But any amount there goes directly to stuff like, how do I get this back off? Stuff like this. This stuff. The solenoids aren't cheap. This stuff here. No single part here is super expensive, but all in all, the amount of money is a lot that I have to spend on it, and I do not make nearly enough on YouTube, or definitely not on X, because I'm not monetized, and I'm not even close to being monetized on X. But it is a lot of stuff that I have to purchase to keep these tests running. And we're going to UVU too, and that's going to be expensive as well. So yeah, should maybe make one for that. Probably not, but anyway, yeah, any dollars that go there go directly to this stuff. So any help is much appreciated.
Yep.
So my closing thoughts here.
Please go for it.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say that we'll be looking forward to seeing everybody on Sunday, and hoping that you all can join us on Sunday.
Yes, it would be probably one of the more exciting tests in some ways. But my closing thoughts are, we're looking for guests. We don't want to have streams where it's just us. I mean, I don't. I want to have guests. I mean, maybe some streams where it's just us, but the purpose of this show is to have guests on who have theories. It's basically Theory Thursday, whatever. So we want to have guests on who have strong theories they can present on what happened to Charlie Kirk, what the deal is with Artemis, what the deal is with the moon landings, what the deal is with aliens, UFOs. That's the people who I want to talk to, who can come on and present and defend a theory, an alternative reality theory. So if you are the person who has a strong opinion on one of these theories, please let us know. I think Kelly put the email address in the bottom ticker. So let us know. Email Kelly, email myself, DM us, tweet us, whatever. All right.
Yep, we would love to hear from you. Oh, we got another super chat that just came in. Let you read this one out.
Okay, I don't watch that show, but all right.
I don't watch it either, but I'll have to look it up.
All right. I'll let you close it out. I think you close
Oh
these
my
out.
goodness. Well, someone had suggested that we close it out as the lesson of the day: don't sell babies. I think that's a pretty solid idea to keep in mind. And don't forget, everyone, that it is Mother's Day coming up on Sunday. So, be sure to tell a mama in your life Happy Mother's Day.
Is Brock still there?
Yes, he's on my feet asleep. That's probably, someone had said they saw me smirking, so that's probably what I was smirking at. But he's fast asleep on my feet. So thank you guys so much. We really appreciate you, and we look forward to seeing you Sunday afternoon, and then of course next Thursday evening as well. Bye.
Bye.